So I've been thinking about making some adapters. I got a whole bunch of banana jacks, and I really like to make a assortment of connectors, namely some banana jacks to DuPont connectors maybe, or breadboard connectors. I also have a mixture of shrouded and unshrouded banana jacks. Let me see if I can grab one of these. So these are shrouded. And these are the best because you lay them on your bench and they're not going to short out even if they're live. Problem is, only multimeters and high voltage stuff are shrouded. Bench power supplies typically are not, unless they're real laboratory benches. So that's a problem. I can't use these side on my bench and this side plugged into that. So the alternative is to buy adapters. And I have quite a few adapters. I have all kinds of banana jack adapters, to probes, but these start to get expensive. So I thought, let me get a bunch of stuff and I can just make my own. These cost quite a bit of money. It's like $5, $6 a pair. It's not a lot, but if you want to use them on every port or every banana jack you have, it gets expensive. So you get one of those and it converts it from shielded to non-shielded. So I picked up a bunch of these jacks. Oops. Does that go on there? I think these are for something else. So these guys, I think you just assemble them like that. You put your wire in, and I don't know how you're supposed to solder it to that. And then you clamp it together, and your wire comes out of here, and then you have a stackable socket. That's similar to these, where you have a spare after you plug it in. So I bought a bunch of these to make my own cables. I have some silicone wire I bought. But I probably don't need more banana jacks. I really just bought these to get a bunch of these, because these were pretty cheap compared to these. And I think it's pretty much the same thing. So I should be able to just put some heat shrink or something on here and then use them as adapters. In fact, I could probably just leave these plugged into my power supply, or anything else I have that doesn't have shrouded jacks. Another option is I bought these. Oops. Let me get this out of the way so I get better contrast. I bought these, which are retractable shrouds. You put your wire, and I guess you solder it. I guess you solder your wire to that lip right there. There's not much room to do it. I mean, you only have that much space to put the wire. You have to put it exactly where it goes. I don't have to figure that out. But that gets snapped together. Your wire comes out of there. And then you have a... Oh, I just snapped it shut. Then you have a unshrouded plug in the back and your wire. And then you have one of these. Which will go in, let me get one of those jacks, which will go in shrouded connector. It's probably better go in a shrouded connector. Or an unshrouded connector. So I thought these would be really good for using as probe adapters. So I can just have one of these with some pigtails coming off of it, different kinds of pigtails, IC clips, and I can plug this into any device I need to plug it into. Multimeter, power supply, and then I can go to breadboards or alligator clips or different kinds of grabbers. So that's pretty neat. And then I got some just straight up banana jacks, which are just gold. And I'll probably make some really nice cables out of these with some really good, I might buy some new silicone wire. This is kind of old. I might get something real high quality and use this for high amperage banana jacks. I might get some real thick cabling and use these for when I need to power something with 6 amps or something like that. And then not have to worry about the connectors or the cable being too small. That's what I bought those for, because they are pretty solid and they should have good contact because of the coating, the plating. I don't know if it's probably not real. These were not that expensive, but they weren't as cheap as something like this. They were a little bit more money. So that's that. So I'll probably do that. Again, I bought these, and surprisingly, these are hard to find on eBay. It's not, you can't just buy these just, a dime a dozen. There's only a few people selling them. Although you can get 2mm to 4mm, there's tons of those. I guess those are used for battery connecting or some kind of battery connectors or quadcopters or something like that. I think rechargeable batteries, or not really sure. But there's a lot of 2mm to 4mm adapters like this. But finding a 4mm shrouded to unshrouded is a little bit difficult. I also want to make some more of these cables. I really like these cables. These cables are just male to female. Oh no, wait, sorry. These are male to male. Just male on both sides. And then I have a bunch of different ends that can go on there. So I thought maybe I could do that too somehow with these. So maybe I can use these as instead of buying a bunch of male connectors and female connectors, I could just use these as both. Pretty much this is a female and a male together, and I can just use that to stick on there. And then I guess I could just cut that off and just wire to it and put some heat shrink over it. Or find a way to use these jacks. Here's the back of the jack. So yeah, I could have something like that. And either just leave that on there and have the wire come out here for a connector. So then you can plug it in and have a pigtail. I don't know if that's going to be smart or not, but that was my kind of thought. But I could always just cut that whole thing off, cut the plastic and cut this off, and just use it as a male connector. I mean a male adapter, male to whatever. I think that's everything I've got in here. Yeah, that's pretty much it. So I'll show you what I mean about, you know, you got a breadboard or something. So you got a breadboard and you got these plugged into your multimeter, and you know, you're screwed because you can't do nothing. So if you just take one of those, well, these are terrible. I've replaced these on my other one. They're very shallow. I don't know how you're supposed to use these. Nothing goes in these. I've never found anything that fits in these. They're not even real banana jacks. So I'm not sure how you're supposed to use those, but that's the concept. It makes it a little unwieldy, but it's dirt cheap. And like for these, I have regular probes. I have alligator clips. So I kind of leave these on my bench and I can just swap them out. So my idea is to just be able to have even more stuff available like in this kind of a setup, where I can just have banana jacks where I can just always have them available to plug into different things and not have to constantly grab wires off of stuff. And then I have so we got alligator clips. We got these back probe adapters, which are like needles. Really sharp. In fact, these are good because you can actually put these right in a breadboard. But they are very sharp. I might make some of these dull so I don't kill myself. And then I got some these, which are good for attaching to terminal blocks if you're trying to, well, kind of doesn't fit on that, but you get the idea. I probably need to get some smaller ones, or like I said, I could just make these. Would be easy to make with just some spade connectors and one of these. You know, one of these, and hook a spade connector to it. You know, so you just clamp it on and solder it, and cut it right there. Clamp it on and solder it. So you can make all kinds of sizes and things you can't buy and stuff like that. I need a better way to organize all this. I think I came up with a little way to might 3D print something to hold all these that I can plug in and just holds them all. And these are great too because you can use these as well. You can probe, or you can just plug them right in. So I really like these. Even though they're kind of unwieldy when you probe in because they got this big lantern on them. I think you can buy lanterns that slip on other probes too, if they don't come with lanterns. But you can just plug them into a banana jack just like that. If you want to, measure something, and just plug it in. So these are really cool. I'd like more of these, but these came as part of a kit. I don't know if you can buy these by themselves. I'll have to look. I think Frankie might sell these by themselves. Another option I thought was I could just take one of these jacks, put it together with no wire. It's a little bigger than I want it to be. And then I can just cut that off. Whatever. Here we go. It's a little big, but it works as an adapter. And I can have 10 of these for a couple bucks. I think probably $2, I think it was. And that's that. Yeah, if you want to get real picky, you can even just cut that off and heat shrink the whole thing to a barrel. And there you go. And that should plug right into your power supply. And then you got a pair, so you got black ones and red ones, or you can just make them all black if you want to use them as adapters. Problem with these is I wonder if they make these with shrouded on the back. Probably not, because there's not enough room with the spring, but that would be neat. Shrouded to retractable, because then you can use that for anything. I mean, you can use these for shrouded too. But you're kind of defeating the purpose. So that's what I was thinking. That's why I have a whole box full of just various stuff, and then I have some silicone wire. This is some old stuff. I don't know if it's really silicone or not. It's a little stiff. It's not as nice as these connectors that I have. I bought these on eBay from somebody. I just bought a bunch of blacks and put colors on them so I can identify. I had like 4 or 5 pairs. And these are really rubbery. They don't tangle or anything. I see this on my bench. This is, it's just a really nice cable. It says electro-pjp.com. I think they make their own cables. They make their own. I think they're actually manufacturer of cables. So I got these for actually pretty cheap compared to how much they want for flukes. So I bought a bunch of them. Also got a bunch of these, bunch of those. Some BNC. Of course, I got terminators and BNC to different adapters, SMAs, and phono. Just all kinds of weird stuff. BNCTs. So I gotta find a way to organize. If anybody has any ideas how to organize stuff like this, I thought about just getting a bunch of, well, this would probably be too expensive, but just get a bunch of like 3D print, make it some 3D printed plastic connectors that I could just plug them all onto on a board or something. I thought that would be kind of cool. You probably just get the right size tube would probably just pop them right on. Same thing for, same thing for these. The right size tube, friction fit them in there and just hang them all in some kind of a hanger or holder. But for now, this works. This is like makeup trays. I bought like 6 of these makeup trays they were on clearance somewhere, so I bought a bunch of them. But yeah, if you have ideas, let me know. I don't have room for component bins. I have a whole bunch of component bins that I put in the attic because I don't have room for them anymore. I might get some down and start using them again, but I'm not really a fan of component bins. Everything just stays hidden, and it just seems like a pain to get to anything. Unless you're on top of it and you constantly label and stuff. And then you need a label printer, and I have a label printer. It's been out of labels for 10 years. So, it just gets annoying. I like stuff like this where all I gotta do is label the container, and then I know, I can even see in the container, and I know what's all in here. So all I need to do is grab one, and I have a bunch of these. So I'm just gonna try to figure out how to organize these, and I might actually wind up getting, modifying these to hold bigger things to get rid of some of these adapters and some of these walls, or find out if somebody makes, a different system that's just as good but nice and small. I don't want the big Stanleys. I have a bunch of Stanleys that are huge, but I want some nice little thing. You can take it out, put it on your desk. They stack. They stack up. You can see in each one. They have these little trays that go in them. And you can put, components, take them out, put it back. So I think I'm just going to buy more of these. I think these are real cheap Chinese. They're always on sale. I think I got them at Tractor Supply. So next time I see them, I might pick them up. I've even seen stuff like this in Aldi's, and I think it's a pretty common thing. They're not the best. Some of these are all bent. Some of the plastic's not molded very well. Some of these are messed up, but they all close really good. Just don't pick them up and pull them out like that. But the good thing is they do have a lip, so you can grab them. You can grab them without grabbing the latch. So these are really cool. I'll see if I can find these online. If I can find them online, I'll post a link to them. I just really like them. wish I had more styles with different, bigger compartments. Because you can't really fit a lot of big stuff. But you can take the middle divider out and, see, I've already filled this one up with all these connectors. So now I gotta clean one out, and I usually put stuff into bigger containers, and I have one or two of each item in another smaller container in my desk, so I can just get to it without digging. And if I run out, I'll just replenish it. So I keep some headers in here and some connectors, but I just got all these, so I just started putting them in here. So that's that for connectors. Maybe I'll go over my cable management next time, all my probes and banana cables, but I mean, there's not much to that. I just have them all hanging up. Something else I was working on. It's like a dummy load, and just a bunch of jacks that I can bring over and then break out, so that I just have I can make some short wires, from there to my breadboard. So it's kind of like a breakout box for banana jacks. So I would just plug something in and be able to work on something. And then it's got a dummy load in case I need to sync some current. And it's just a bunch of banana jacks wired together. And I think there's some resistors and a heat sink in there. I forget what I put in there, but I put it on springs so that it can be removed. This just comes off, and then I can change the resistors out. Until I have a smart dummy load, I'm probably going to build a smart programmable dummy load. But for now, I just want to sync to an amp. 5 volt. I think it just does 1 amp at 5 volts. I think that's how I sized it. I'll have to remember. So like 2 of these jacks, the grounds are this ground and this one goes to the dummy load, and then this jumps to that jumps to that, and then that to that, or something. Like, the way I made this was that any 2 can be linked, so you can output, any 2 to any 2. And I think I have them wired so that, positive to positive, positive to positive, ground to ground to ground. And then this ground goes to here, but any other grounds, so you can do this and this, or this and this. Or that and that, So, thought that was kind of interesting. And I could just leave this. I'll probably put some weight in it, or magnets, and just leave it on my bench, or mount it to my desk, and then I can bring wires in and just plug them in. So I'll bring my DMM in, bring my power supply in, 5 volts, 12 volts, DMM, and then I could just have those taps right here on my bench. Mostly because I have 2 benches. I have my computer bench where I do microcontrollers and programming stuff. So sometimes I need to bring a meter over there, and having wires going everywhere, it's kind of a pain. So I could kind of just put this anywhere and move it back and forth without twisting all my wires up. That was the idea. And this, I also thought this would be a good idea to take care of all the converting from unshrouded to shrouded. I could just bring them over to this box, and then everything will be shrouded. So kind of like an adapter universal adapter and breakout box. I haven't really used it yet. It's not even screwed together yet. I think I'm going to need actually more jacks, so I'm probably going to get rid of this and put that in a different... I just needed this for a specific project, so I threw it in here. So I'm probably going to get rid of that and make more jacks. And just use it for... Maybe I'll even have a battery pack in there so that I have some isolated battery voltages out. Or some, a USB and some lithium charger for when you want some isolation, or maybe I'll even throw my 5-volt reference in here and have a reference output. So I just thought that would be handy for the desk to have just kind of a little remote head unit for anything you could possibly need for dealing with that. And that's it for today. Till next time.